Hello and welcome to The Chase. Thank you so much for joining me once again. You are watching The Chase right here on ZTN Prime. I'm your host, Faith Nyaude. Now, today's episode comes in the wake of a deadly dog attack in the capital, Harare, that has triggered national outrage and reignited the debate over pit bulls and other dangerous dog breeds here in Zimbabwe. Most people are now questioning the belief that dogs are men's best friend after the tragic incident that took place in New Bluffville, which saw a 39-year-old Samuel Machara lose his life after being mauled by a dog. While some say it is a pit bull, though some say it could really have been a crossbreed. Globally, several countries have banned or restricted pit bull ownership. Zimbabwe, however, still remains silent on breed-specific legislation. Yet these high-risk breeds are gaining popularity not just in low-density suburbs, but increasingly in high-density communities as well. Now, on The Chase today, we ask, are we, as a society, truly ready to take on the responsibilities that come with keeping high-risk breeds? Should dangerous breeds be banned just outright? And what role are city authorities playing in addressing the issue of stray and vicious dogs? Our discussion tonight, when men's best friend turns foe, to ban or to keep, the case of vicious dogs here in Zimbabwe. And in studio, I am joined by Dr. Munachi Nzembe, applied canine behaviorist, Kuzanai Chachkobo, Inspector, Zimbabwe National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or ZNSPCA, as some might know it, and Mike Meki, a dog enthusiast. Jacob Mafume, the mayor of the city of Harare, is going to be joining us mid-discussion. Please note that all views expressed on The Chase are those of our guests and do not reflect the views of Zimbabwe's 1980 or those of ZTN Prime. Let's cut straight to the chase. Now, we would like to begin this program by showing you a clip by our ZTN News reporter on the latest dog mauling that has reignited debates about dangerous dog breeds here in the country.
So this is the house where the pit bulls were actually kept. As you can see, this is the durable where one of the pit bulls actually jumped over. Now, according to witness accounts, the late Samuel Machara was taking a stroll from his house. Apparently, he was a neighbor to this particular house right here. So he was taking a stroll to come outside and get a smoke. Unfortunately, due to his family's religious beliefs, he wasn't allowed to smoke just about the gate or inside the house. So therefore, he had to take a stroll and come over this area here. Unfortunately, it was then later that morning, around 6 a.m., where he was found over there, viciously attacked to death by a dog. Now, this has sparked conversations amongst many Zimbabweans. Should Zimbabwe ban these dogs?
After 10 to 11, na in passage mpamedu. Achina mastike mechise kuputa fuchi. But for I put him gate in uti sutri mapostori. Inini ndakatoda izwone mkomane pa next. Zvinzi uyayimone mkomane pampenya kararapa. Asakarumwa nembwa. Ska takazo buda chinotarisa inda ifunga kuti kurumwa kokuti munhu akwara. Tiende nemunhu kuchipatara. Saka ndakatobuda chinosvika ipapo tiona kuti munhu apasisina. Kwa kuchitongovhara kwakuenda unoripota kupolisi.
Shocked, heartbroken and struggling to come to terms with these tragic loss, Agnes Kubenda, sister-in-law to the late Samuel Machara, shares her account of the incident.
Mkomana akaborwa. Kaita buri. Miri wake uyo wangu wakajikiwa. Azvitsanangurika zvitarisiki.
The late Samuel's relatives believe the owner of the pit bull failed to adhere to the pit bull's eating schedule, contributing to the attack.
Mkomana uyu muridzi wembwa akauya paside pamwe akanditi tete ndine urombo ndanzwa kuti ndini tete wemwana uyu. Saka mufunge mbwa dzangu andaudzipa chikafu kuti ndakati hadzisi kukura. Saka ndakatorara ndisinodzipa chikafu. Saka ndarara ndisina.
Now, gentlemen, you have just seen that report, and this is the reason why we are having this discussion today. One of the unfortunate cases where men has been mauled by dogs. The issue of crossbreeds, the issue of vicious dogs here in the city of Harare. Do we have any existing bylaws that really protect the citizens from keeping such very dangerous and vicious breeds? I'll start with you, Kuzanai.
Good evening, everyone. Maybe to start with, we as the Zimbabwe National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, we apply the different acts and maybe bylaws, if necessary, statutory instruments, depending on the nature of the case. So currently, I would say Here in Zimbabwe, we do have municipal bylaws that actually regulates generally the ownership of a dog, a pet, in terms of being a secured property of the owner, then the capacity and the capability to keep the animal in concern within the parameters of his property.
Now, the issue of bylaws is an issue that we would have loved the city father to respond to, but from the information that I'm getting from my producers, he was supposed to join us, but he is currently not reachable. But if he does join us midway, or if he just chooses to show up, then we'll pick it up from there. But let's proceed. We are talking about bylaws that protect them. You did say we have a couple. What about the enforcement? The bylaws might be there, but are they being enforced?
I would say I understand we will have a representative from the council as well, but on behalf of ZNSPCA, I would say we are tasked to enforce the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act. But along the way, while you are dealing with our cases, I'll give you an example. We issue a written warning in it to start with. While the case is progressing, then we do everything. But while we are issuing those written warnings, we also mention, if necessary, if someone is breaking the municipal bylaws, because they go hand in glove as they assist us. So I would say it's not allowed to keep a nuisance dog within your property. And by that I mean any dog which is becoming a problem to your neighbors in terms of aggression, howling, maybe hyper-vocalized in such a way that it disturbs your neighbor. That much, it leads us to the fact that whenever someone is breaking the rules, obviously if the dog is noisy, then it raises our minds that something is happening. Maybe the dog is confined. Maybe the dog is not being fed. This takes us to the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act as well, which actually states that dogs are not allowed to be confined. So obviously by confinement, I would define it as keeping an animal in a small area, a caged area, where the animal doesn't have any freedom to socialize, to express normal behavior, which leads the animal to freedom of discomfort. So aggression on its own, the origin of aggression is not on specific breeds, is on any dog. By that, what I mean is the general care that we provide to the animal, if someone is addressing all the animal welfare needs of an animal, any animal, we won't have a problem. So ideally, having the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, which is against the abuse of animals or training methods that triggers aggression, to me it sounds valuable than the ban itself. Because to ban, this is gonna take time. But I understand with the current situation that we have at the moment, I understand everyone is emotionally attached to the matter. So with that act, it actually states that dogs are not allowed to be confined or to be trained in such a manner that it triggers aggression. Because look, you'll be looking at a dog which was bred to fight like a pit bull. That was the whole idea. But a pit bull is good with kids. At an early age, if someone is taking care of the dog properly, even a mixed breed dog have the capacity to develop such behaviors as well.
So it's all about how the dog is being brought up in the environment that it is in.
Yeah.
Now, you did talk about the issue of space and confining a dog and not really having security. I would like to add the issue of security here. Drawing back now to the case that just happened, that the premises were not properly secured, which saw the dogs jumping the walls and going over the fences.
Yeah.
Expensive dogs have become some sort of status here in the country, even nationwide, I'd like to think, or worldwide. You have an expensive dog, you look dangerous, or I do not know really why most people do that. But traditionally, these were found in affluent suburbs where you have enough space for the dogs to roam about. Now, what advice are you then giving to people now in high-density suburbs who want to take up those expensive dogs and keep them in very small, confined spaces, like you did say, and they are now becoming very dangerous and aggressive because they do not have the freedom to express themselves. Dr. Kuzane. Sorry, Dr. Nzimbe.
Yeah, it's okay. The first thing that I'll start with, if you confine a dog, the dog, maybe the confinement, and also if these dogs, they are chained for a long time, it will result into stress, and that stress will result into aggressive behavior. So what I recommend also, in small areas, even in urban, actually, let me say in urban areas, right? Here in urban areas, we have high density and low density. So in a low density and high density, we have a limited space. So we are now on space management, right? So on space management, what we should do, I suggest the owner to do some walks. These walks, they help the dog for mental stimulation, and also and also these walks and also exercises. So I think it's a need for every dog to be exercised, and also it's a need for every dog to have those walks and also training, because there are some dogs which have we can call it high energy levels, very high energy levels, because those dogs, they need a lot of exercise, because these dogs actually, they differ. Some people may think that if a dog is small, that dog is actually, that dog need a small space, and if a dog is bigger, it need a bigger space, but it's not like that.
That's a
These dogs
misconception.
have different temperaments and characteristics. So we should consider these temperaments and characteristics for each and every breed. And there is also a purpose for every breed. I can say something. Dogs, they have different instincts. We have dogs that have instincts for hunting, and that dog that has instincts for hunting may bite, because we have many breeds that have instincts for hunting. But that dog, if it is poorly socialized, this will result into those biting problems, chewing problems. If you have observed some dog thing,
It's because they have that instinct to go hunt.
Yeah, and also they need socialization from puppyhood, socialization from with other animals, and also socialized with people. Actually, in every environment, socialized to loud noises, because those are some things that may trigger dogs' aggression, because these dogs, they are not poorly socialized, so they need to be socialized.
Now, Mike, you are a dog enthusiast yourself. We are talking about the issue of keeping what we like to term expensive dog breeds, and not these mongrels that we are used to. Some call them Borky, if I have to use vernacular. Why do you think the popularity for those dogs is growing?
I think it's growing. Initially, about expensive breeds, it was a matter of privilege and affordability. That's why you would find expensive breeds with names found in low density areas where people are more privileged. But as of now, people ventured into it. Some got a chance to, purchase those expensive dogs. They brought them from the low density to the high density, and then they started breeding off that, and people ended up having dogs there.
Now, when people come in, they say they want to adopt a dog or they want to take a dog home. Do you teach them in regards to how they should be socialized, which breed has to, how this one has to be kept or how this one has to be kept? Or it's a matter of how much do you have, sign the papers, you can take the dog home?
As ZNSPCA, we do have a policy which applies with every branch in the country, our adoption policy. So we used to call it an application to adopt an animal. Then we developed and we called it a perfect match form. By that, if someone walks in, if he wants to adopt an animal, you fill in that application, which is a perfect match form. You have to fill every details. It's got a section where we ask you about your lifestyle. How do you actually, are you in the active group, or you are now a retired person? Then we also ask you about other animals that you have at home, and we require to see them. That's the stage of meet and greet the animal in concern. Then with that perfect match form, it doesn't lead you to the dog that you want. It leads you to the dog that deserves you. And the dogs that we can actually see that there is a connection. And we also check with the animals that you have at home. If you have 2 male dogs, which is not proportional to the size of your property, according to municipal bylaws, limit on the number of dogs, we'll have to cancel the application. So our adoption policy is very strict on those areas. After that, we do have a panel of inspectors who visit the property, something which we call the pre-home check. We'll come and check your premises to see if they are properly secured. And we also check on the number of kids who are there. Are they kids with disabilities or young kids? Then we match that, all those findings, all those investigations with the dog that you intend to adopt. If you own a dog which is not sterile, an unsterilized dog, let's say it's a female or male, you cannot adopt from us. You have to sterilize the one that you have first. So that procedure takes us to ownership slowly, while we are observing every step. Then there's an adoption fee which covers sterilization, microchipping, and inoculations. So the adoption fee is not like a bargain to us, but it addresses all those key areas why we are avoiding to breach the municipal bylaws ourselves, because we are trying to deal with the dog population. So all dogs will be sterilized before they go to an owner, to a new home.
Now, the mayor of Harare, Jacob Mafume, was supposed to join us, but he is currently not reachable, so he will not be joining us for this discussion as we go into it further. But because after the Bluffy attack, your organization did issue a statement placing the blame primarily on the owner rather than on the animal itself. What is your argument? What is your take, rather, on the argument suggesting that some dogs, like the pit bull in this case, are more susceptible to aggression than others?
What I would say, we got 3 areas to address here. We do have the owner of the animal. Whenever there is a case of aggressive dog, this is how we approach it. We analyze the source first. That is the owner first. Then secondly, we analyze the environment where the dog is being kept. Is there proper housing? By that, we'll be also observing the 5 freedoms of an animal. So is there freedom to express normal behavior, freedom from discomfort, freedom from hunger and thirst? Those are the basic things that we check on before we even check on the breed or anything. Then this leads us to actually observe what might be the driving force or maybe the pushing factor towards aggression. That's specifically for aggressive dogs. Then from there, we check the relationship between the owner and the animal. Is the animal obedient to the owner? Or the animal is not even, some of them we find they'll be nervous. They are not even related to their owners. This leads us to we also apply the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, which have a list of offenses. So when you're approaching every case, we open the act and we see out of 10 or 8 offenses, one of them normally, which is usually common with aggressive dogs, is confinement. It's usually those dogs which are confined in certain areas of the property who cannot access the other sides of the property. They are not well socialized. So if they see anyone, they attack.
So it is on the basis of those findings that you made up that statement to say the owner is the one to blame and not the dog itself.
Yeah.
Dr. Nzembe, are you in agreement with this?
Yeah, I am in agreement with that because, all right, from the video, I saw even a small chain on that. So that dog was on the short chain, right? So that dog was chained for a long time. So this causes aggression also. Aggression by what? This causes aggression through lack of mental stimulation, as I said before about mental stimulation. Then also, there's also another thing that actually dogs, they learn from observation and experimenting also. So they can even learn from their owners, even from other littermates and their parents too. So these dogs, they need proper training. And there's also a big difference between dog ownership and there's another thing, what I can call sponsor. You can be a sponsor. Yeah. So you are providing shelter, you are providing food, you are providing medical case and health case, but you don't have time with your dog.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's attachment. So dog ownership is just like child parenting.
And I think that's where most people really get it wrong, because they think a dog can take care of itself and it doesn't need all of those things that you just listed.
And also dogs, as I said before, they need you don't have to confine them because of stress again. Then also there's this thing, each and every breed have different temperaments and characteristics, as I said before. So even in on the feeding schedule, even if there are some dogs that they need some schedules for feeding. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you should follow those feeding schedules. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they should be fed well, as Inspector Chatikobo said before. Then there is also another time they need exercises. Yeah, exercises and walks. Then also there is this thing that is important. I talked about attachment, right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, attachment. Then also there is that thing, besides attachment, concerning behavior, the dog behavior, maybe, I talked about stress. Mm-hmm. I think that's all about stress, yeah.
So now that sums up the issue now, where said and SPCA did say we are putting the blame on the owner rather than on the dog itself.
Yeah, because to this case, I can say that this is negligence.
Mm. But do we have isolated cases where the dog acts on aggression, but it is well socialized, it is space, it is love, like you were saying, and it's just now acts on aggression? Do we have those particular cases, or it's a rarity?
No. We don't have. If dogs are well socialized, well trained, well socialized to all environments, and everything. They don't become aggressive. Yeah, there's nothing like that.
Now, we're talking about a dog that was apparently a crossbreed, and there is little to no centralized regulation of dog breeding practices here in Zimbabwe, Mike. I'm sure you are aware of that. Yes. Do you believe that a breeders' association or a regulatory body is necessary in order to protect both the industry and the public from dangerous crossbreeds?
Yes, I believe so. I think that's one thing to look into, because we've been having cases of crossbreeding a lot. But if then there are boards set up and regulations put in place, then we know that once you're under a certain society also, you are not going to crossbreed. If they say you're breeding baubles, you need to be breeding a bauble to a bauble in order for you to register that dog. Mm-hmm. So I think we need that. ZKC was there. I'm not sure if it's still that active, but I think we need that regulation, and also city council bylaws on breeders' licenses. They need to regulate that, so that we've got responsible dog breeding going on, because people are breeding dogs. It is going on, but people need to be informed, because they're just venturing into it, but they are not sure of what they are doing, and we end up having crossbreeds that are going to make a damage to a certain breed, and probably they'll be impersonated as a particular breed whilst they're actually not. Because a breed does have breed standards. Every breed has got a breed standard, so people need to breed following that standard. Looking at pit bulls, they're prey-driven, they're aggressive towards animals, and they've got little to zero human aggression as per standard. That's what the standard states. Mm-hmm. initially they did not breed them for man work. They are not guard dogs. The standards say so. If you look at to UKC, breed standard for American People Terriers, the standard states so that they are companions. They do not go for humans. But what happens now is, of course, it's a dog. Even if the standard states that, and even if it's a purebred dog, it might as well show signs of aggression. It now depends on what Dr. Zimbabwe was saying, the upbringing of the puppy, where you socializing the dog. It all comes all in. So, but the main issue is on crossbreeding. The moment you mix a breed with two different characteristics, you are not sure of the outcome. You do not know what's coming to you. You're breeding a high energy level dog, probably to a mastiff, and a mastiff has got guarding instincts. Now you're going to put, and the outcome is a larger dog that's going to have size and power and that agility and tenacity of the other breed, and that combination is not to play with.
You did mention the issue of city bylaws. It is unfortunate, like I did say, that the mayor is not joining us. We had reached out to him so that he could come, but he is not reachable. Some countries such as New Zealand, Brazil, Puerto Rico and all those have banned the breeding of pit bulls entirely. Given the trend of dog attacks, this is not the first dog attack, and we don't know if it's going to be the last dog attack. Would adopting a similar strategy be justified?
About pit bull bans in a majority of countries, I would say initially, yes, there were human attacks, but initially pit bulls were banned because of dog fighting. Like I said, okay, the originality of pit bulls, they used to catch wild cattle and also catching hogs in pits. So since they saw the tenacity and the gameness in that dog, they started venturing into dog fights. They were now, what do you call it, pledging money, on the dogs. They were making money out of that. So in most countries, that's the reason why pit bulls were banned.
Dr. Nzambe, your take on that?
Yeah, my take on that, there are statistics that I want to look at. First thing, I want to look at the statistics. 90%, there are something like 91% of reported fatal attacks on other animals if they are not socialized. So these biting problems and these biting incidents is it's because of these dogs. Maybe they are crossbred. Because if we look at that dog that was on video, it's a pit bull cross. It's not a pure pit bull. Because maybe I can go into anatomical features of that dog. There is a leg span that is recommended for every breed. There is also a height that is recommended for every breed. So that those anatomical those are the things that prove this is a pure breed. So on this breed, pit bull, the height is mostly like that is the height 40 to 50 centimeters, just around there. That is the height of the pit bulls. They are not bigger, they are smaller.
No, Dr. Nzambe, sorry to just jump in, but I hear what you're both saying, and I will come to you, Kudzanai, so that I also get your perspective. But should they be banned or not? You did give your scientific explanations like you are giving me now, that, it's supposed to be like this, they're supposed to be like this. And just as how many other countries have banned them, should Zimbabwe also adopt a similar standpoint?
No, the problem is not the dog. The problem is with the owner and the raising. Yeah, there are some positive behaviors on the dog and there are negative behaviors on the dog. But on the positive behaviors, right, on the positive, you know what? Pit bulls, they are loyal dog. They are gentle. They are kind and loving dog. That's why Inspector Chatikobo, he said that, these dogs, they are also good even for child parenting. Yeah, there's a statement that if they are trained properly, they are good for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Nzambe, we're just going to look at a picture of the pit bull in question, just in case someone is not familiar with it. If you could just describe to us that dog, the scientific explanations you were just giving us.
Yeah, on the scientific explanations, the height of the dog and also the weight of the dog, there's some specific weight that is maybe the specific of a pit bull is something like 15 to 23 kgs. So this dog from the picture is over that is over 23 kgs. That is a very big dog. And also the leg span, we can't say that is that dog is 50 centimeters. It's not 50. Yeah, because I'm considering for both males and females. So if it is a male, a pit bull is 50 centimeters.
So which breed was likely crossbred to create this one? Yeah.
I think it's a Dogo Argentino. I wouldn't be saying that's the pure one, but I think so. So identifying breeds, it's quite objectional. It depends with region and who is actually examining the animal in concern and the intentions that we want to achieve. So while I'm comparing like the cost-benefit analysis of banning them, I would start by saying in other countries, they are rated dangerous dogs. So they call it the Dangerous Dogs Act.
And we don't have that.
Yeah, so with that act now, it actually simplifies who should own the pit bull and who must not own a pit bull. So it's not like a ban, but they are being kept maybe for scientific purposes, something which we are not aware of because we don't have it here in Zimbabwe. But anyway, my point is, considering our community, in Zimbabwe, it's not everyone who is well informed about animals. So then, while we are also considering the gravity of the matter, if you are to check here, and if you are to check are those who are disadvantaged. He said that any disability he is blind, or munhu angoita a certain change of behavior, maybe atoro kana amodoro aita say kazhinji kacho in the previous case yatakamboita yekuota force, he was drunk. So ukachinja stepping gate yako yatadza kudi kuku-identify. So with all those technicalities involved and errors of omission or commission, you omit something you were supposed to feed, it didn't feed. So zvese zvozo kuti munhu azonzi he is now an owner, to me kuti dzingonzi dzingoriko hadzo everywhere, I would have been taking that personally, because tiri kutarisa community tiri kuti very well informed zvakadi kwadzinotobhiridiwa imbwa idzodzo, you check kuti ma-areas edzinotobhiridiwa zvoka vatori nedzavo shoma, and most of them they sell out kune vanhu vasiri well informed.
Speaking of which, the issue of selling to people who are not well informed, the bite style of this dog apparently is a bite and shake, so to speak. With bite, it shakes. Do you think there has to be mandatory training of both the dog owner and the dog itself before they can go home and start staying together, before that whole thing happens? I'll start with you, Dr. Nzembe, before we move over to Kuzana.
It's okay. Thank you. For this dog, I think training is needed for both the owner and the dog. So the training should be owner guiding training. That's the best training. There is no training. Training should be owner guiding, and also the training should be positive reinforcement training, force-free training. You know, we have aversive trainers. Those guys, they use the choke chains and they use electric collars to train those dogs. Yes, no results no casca, but the challenge that we have with that, we have many negative behaviors those things, because the dog actually because you are forcing that dog. Yeah, so the dog inofanira kukuterera nekuti iwewe uri
So the positive reinforcement, something, if you train it to do something, give it a treat instead of, hitting
not
it or
just a
something
treat
like
only,
that.
but a treat and the hand praising, because there's big difference between positive reinforcement training and bribing.
Okay.
So there are two things.
So you should
that are
not be
different.
bribing the
So
dog.
there's bribing and a positive training.
I'm sure this is something new for everyone. They
Yeah.
didn't know that dogs can actually be bribed.
But yeah. So then also on the issue of training the owner should be trained for responsible. That there's also a communication. Dogs, they speak to us.
And
but
you
the
should
problem,
speak to them.
we should speak to them. They apologize to us. And we also
Need to take the
apologize to
apologize.
them. Yes.
Okay.
And there's a way that these dogs, they accept apology. And there's also a way
That they
we
give
should
the apology.
Yeah, because many people, there's another thing that was said with Inspector Shatikobo about that mapipu zana kuruma boss na yakatakwa and other things like. So the other problem yandukona ilikonzeresa kuti vanhu varomwe is because these dogs, we are not able to read the language.
Okay.
Yeah, we are not able to separate. This is a warning sign. This is not a warning sign. So they are warning sign before dog isatia kuruma. It will give you.
So it
a
just
warning
doesn't
sign.
jump to be aggressive. It shows you it's about to get
Yes,
aggressive.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kuzanai, your take?
Okay. I think we were discussing about banning them, or maybe trying to put
Some restrictions on the
some
ownership.
restrictions. Yeah. In I would say let's put some restrictions. Why? How many people are well informed about Kutukasangani pitbull? You need to calm down. How many people are aware of that? And how long does it take kuti munhu agara phobia yembwa tese takasiyana kune vanhu vanoti akatongoona ototiza. So we can try kuisa concept mumunhu yekuti iwe uchazodai wasangana nepitbull uchazoita so instead I would say community yedu nemacases acho kuwanda kwawo anditi nekuzodzirestraina to remove them, and the way they are going to be kept at an animal shelter, not the cost of upkeep per se, but maybe could try to rebuild the lost behavior. It doesn't come easily to us kuti tinongosvika tongoti imbwa itora aggressive. We do have my inspectors vanouya vocheka. We do have my doctors anouya vocheka opa opinion yake, and the manager who is there. So the decision making yekuti tiprove imbwa yekuti let's go for it or hangatisiyane nazvo inini hangu kuti dzitogara dzichingonzi dzisiko kune vanhu vakawanda. I would take that, because look now, pathophobia already, which will lead to abuse of those animals. Because munhu achangoti akasangana nepitbull otongoti inini ndakutongogara ndakazvidefenda
Because it's about to
because
bite.
asi haina zvadi zvamiita, and maybe it's just an innocent pitbull irikudi
That's just
irikuzvifambira. So I would say kuti zvikambonzwa hadzisiko, then dzakuzikamwa dziri kugara naningi, then population tichaita together with the council, it will lead us to know kuti muZimbabwe tine mapitbull 6, because remember haikwanisi kugara pana vanhu vakawanda ka. So obviously nema-municipal bylaws tozoona kuti unodeserve to be an owner of a
that
pitbull,
versus breed.
then toona, because look, the risk is very high than kuti zvibenefite munhu one anoti inini ame ndini ndinofarira mapitbull, then totoziva kuti vane mapitbull vanowanika area yakati totongoziva kuti izvozvo zviripo.
You know, like I keep on mentioning, you keep referring to the city bylaws, and it's unfortunate that the Mayor Jacob Mafumi could not join us. He was supposed to, but unfortunately he was not reachable. Let's go now to the dog breeders side. The reason why we were looking on screen at that particular dog breed, and you guys did mention it might be a mixture of this and mixture of that. And the reason why most of these breeders end up crossbreeding is because they want value, they want money. And the moment that they present an aggressive looking dog to a potential owner, they quickly come to buy it. Why is that? And is there a way to prevent that from happening? Because I feel most of these issues of this problem comes from the breeders themselves, because they are the ones that are experimenting with dangerous dog breeds, and now we have dangerous dogs instead.
Actually, a crossbreed is quite cheaper than a purebred one. Here with me, I've got a pedigree certificate of a purebred dog. it's very expensive to go about the whole process and all that, even to purchase the particular dog. So about crossbreeding, some people, they themselves, they are experimenting on their own. They want to see a result. Maybe they are daydreaming of. They want like I said, you want a dog with tenacity at the same time that's huge and muscular. But about value, it's actually not so valuable. But it's just people, and the matter is people are uninformed. Like we said, people need to be informed about breeding responsibility, ethical breeding actually, because an ethical breeder doesn't crossbreed dogs. He betters the breed which he's working on. So for us to curb that, I think if we get registries, like Dr. Nzemba said, if we get registries, we could actually know who's doing what and where through the registry. If you're not under the registry, if you're not registered as a breeder with the city council, then you're not supposed to be breeding. If you do so, it's violation of laws.
But, okay, Mike, just how many people do you think understand and know that a crossbreed is not supposed to be as expensive as a pure breed? Because if a crossbreeder comes to you and says, you know what, Faith, here with me, I have a German Shepherd and I have a Pit Bull, I've mixed these two together, my thought is going to be, oh my, you mixed two very expensive dog breeds, so this one is most likely to be more expensive than these two. Do you understand my point, where I'm coming from?
Yes.
And how many people do you think actually know and understand that a crossbreed is not supposed to be that expensive, and now crossbreeders take advantage of the fact that people are not aware?
I think people do. When someone is inquiring for a dog or a puppy, they have a dog in their mind. They have a dog that they really want. If they say that I saw a German Shepherd at Waterfalls Police, they want a German Shepherd. So if you mix it with a Pit Bull, there are certain characteristics and looks that you're going to find that are not desirable. So it's not a matter of people wanting that, but as he said, he was describing that dog. A Pit Bull is what, 18 to 21 inches tall. A male is 45 to 60 pounds in weight. A female is around 30 to 50. Yeah. When you crossbreed dogs, you tend to get a dog that looks like the father, and one that looks like the mother, and some that looks mixed breed. So you get to confuse the two. When you're inquiring for a Pit Bull, probably it was mixed with a Boer Bull, but you obviously get dogs that are looking like a Pit Bull. It's a Pit Bull look-alike, but it's not a purebred Pit Bull. Later on, you're going to have problems of that, because that dog is looking like a Pit Bull, but inside is carrying a Boer Bull blood, and it's got all sorts of characteristics that are going to blend with the tenacity of the Pit Bull, and it'll end up a disaster.
Dr. Nzemba, you wanted to weigh in?
Yeah, on the issue, I want to start with breeding. The first thing that I recommend when puppies are born, there's a process called weaning. Yeah, that's the process. Yaruti nichishona mapuppies afana kuyamwa pana mai vavo. That's the time also when the puppies, they learn from their litter mates and their parents. If my parents they have good behavior. So if kanavasina good behavior, we separate those from the parent. Then we start to train those dogs in our desirable behavior. Yet not my puppies in aite izozo. Then also there's another thing that is because my puppies, they learn from observation and experimenting. So if they experiment something, you have to have normal behavior. Can I have to stand to my biting problems? You have to have normal. Then another thing on the breeders. I think the breeders, we have different categories of the breeders. The first category, that there are some people, there are no jobs here. There are few jobs actually. So some people, they are going to universities and they are not doing anything to earn money. So these guys, they want to do something. So some other guys, they've started breeding for money. But a reputable breeder or a good breeder doesn't breed for money. He is not afraid even to lose money because he is doing something in a proper way.
Now, allow me to just jump in and ask Mike this. ZNSPCA did tell us they have an elaborate scheduling they follow, a form they need in order for someone to become a dog owner. As a dog breeder, do you also follow certain guidelines before you can give someone a dog? Or like he's saying, as long as they have money, you can take the dog and go with it?
Yes, we do follow. Like I said, the issue about ethical breeding, like he mentioned, there are registries. Right now, we are using registries from South Africa because we do not have our own here in Zim. We actually get papers and pedigree papers that tell us what to expect of the dog. So when one is purchasing a puppy, they have to go through a whole process. So I'm telling you, it's not easy for a random person to just come in and say, we're doing this. No.
But then we have seen, or I personally have seen posts on social media where someone is saying, I am selling this dog, come and buy it for this amount.
Yes.
Is that how it's supposed to be like?
No, it's not.
And does that not create the issue now of, as long as you have money, come and get a dog?
Yes, it does. About breeding, we can separate the two. There are backyard breeders and then there are ethical registered breeders.
So the backyard breeders are the ones selling their animals on social media?
Both can, but now where the animal is coming from and where it's going, it will be a totally different story now. Yes.
Now, Dr. Nzimba, I did come in while you were saying something. You can finish.
Okay, it's okay. So on the breeder, there are some breeding principles and practices that must be followed. Yeah, that must be followed. Then also there are some genetics called hereditary. So as I said, that Panama behaviors so some breeder nebasa hombe. Then also there are some health testing. Zvinofana kuti say kuitwa before usati watengesa imbwa iyoyo. Inofana kuitwa ma health testings iwayo. Also there is selection. Untoona wega kuti mapappies aya azvarwa akatosiyana. Atosiyana mapappies aya because mawana uzvarwa aine ma genetical problems. So as a breeder, anofanira kutoziva zvinhu zvipi izvozvo. Then also there's this thing, even uchitotengesa imbwa, what I recommend, I'm not a breeder, but I'm a behavioral expert, but there are some things that I don't advise. Client yatenga, then uongonoendesa imbwa zvakadaro. What you must do as a breeder is to go and check imbwa yayo pachanogara. Wanotarisa pachagara imbwa. Then the next thing that you do, ukaona imbwa yasiri bada zvakanaka, he is the buyer, he is the owner, and it. But the breeder, I'm a right
to take back that dog.
Yeah, to go and take it back.
Mike, have you had cases where you had to go and take a certain dog because it was not being kept well?
Yes, the cases are there. People will have money. They think they got a couple bucks. They think they are well off to just get a dog. But like you said, that's when you are just labeled the owner or the buyer, but you don't have time for your dog. It's not that you don't have money to buy feed for the dog, but you just don't care because you think it just does it on its own.
It just survives on itself.
Exactly. So yeah, when you're buying a puppy, it's good you have contracts. That's why I was mentioning about registries. All that is done, you sign a contract, it's got terms. If you do not meet those, then the dog is taken away from you.
Now, Kuzanai, the city of Harare did order the municipalities to shoot all stray dogs if they do appear aggressive or they look like they are not being homed okay. Is that the right step to take?
I think I would like to correct on the there's a technical word which they abused. They said to shoot is not the right term. So while you are working together with the municipality, we are trying to create a relationship whereby what we have in their municipal bylaws and what we have in the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, we should work together to produce something. Because basically what I'm saying is, it was an abuse of term.
So when they said shoot, what were they
shoot,
supposed to say?
it's a term which is common in the acts or bylaws. So we are trying to develop them so that at least we can all understand. By that, I think mukacheka nemamwe even na plum tree vese varungo nana kwekwe vakambobudisawo chidero. So we as ZNSPCA, we do have an HOD, head of department, who is specifically meant for that. He is following up to rectify the term which was abused, because nema animal rights, nema animal lovers. It's not everyone who's abusing an animal. So zvinhu zvinotigaji zvakawanda. But anyway, there is much progress on that, and it's euthanized, it's not shoot. So what is going to happen is the Harare municipality will be still enforcing their bylaws, but this time around, vaine assistance a pound, because ZNSPCA is a body, but it in branches akasiyana. So Harare SPCA, that's where the pound is. So while we are using the municipal bylaws as a tool to reduce, to manage our dog population in Harare, what will happen is a stray dog will still be admitted as a stray dog. A surrendered dog or an abandoned dog will still be treated as an abandoned dog or a surrendered dog. So as this change, my terms iwayo, because they are derived from the owner. Is the owner surrendering the dog, or is the owner neglecting the dog? So when there is neglect, the ndopanopindo ma acts turn out chi chakakonzera neglect yacho, was it intentional or unintentional cruelty? Maybe pakaita shortage yechikafu imbwa yakasiwa ichidi ichibuda, and then we will look into all those factors. As you, at the same time, my municipal bylaws, all those courts are more like limit on the number of dogs. Section 12, dogs are not allowed to stray. Each and every section will be observed together with the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, because neglect on its own, it's an offense.
Now, Usana, just clear something up for us here. For someone who is not really, aware of the city bylaws and what they do say and what they state, in their minds, they're probably thinking, I've seen a lot of stray dogs where I stay. Who is responsible for taking those dogs to the pound? Is it an SPCA, or is it the job of the municipality?
What happens is, as an SPCA, our sole responsibility is animal welfare. That's our mandate. Then the municipal bylaws, they empower us to remove if necessary. And the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, inotitendera futi ku remove even without your consent, up to destruction of the animal. We still have the powers to distract an animal with or without your consent.
So the stray dogs can be picked up by either ZNSPCA or the municipality.
Or the municipality. So, but the pound E1.
Okay.
So even you can pick up a stray if you have confidence in nezvorukita uchiziva kuti urumwe. You can help your dog kutoitakura kana kuenda naye pa police station. What matters with the stray dog is to broadcast that tawanachi a stray dog. So initially, the ones which are straying dzichatotorwa dzienda pound. Kune inonzi pound time of 10 days yekuti tsvaga owner. Then to consider ukuona kuti pana munhu ari kuita show up for the dog here. If someone wants to claim the dog, anofana kunge aine vaccination card rake and everything. That's 10 days up to about 14 days, kana ari holidays, total stretch up to 20 days. And surprisingly, in our custody, we do have more than at least, I would say 80 dogs dzitori in our custody due to neglect in different forms. Mention. But what I mean is, with these statistical numbers, we can see kuti isusu still tikungotora mastray. It's something chatatagara tichingodi tichingoita. Taingogara tichingoti imbwa yakauya because we got an open door policy whereby our admission is not determined nekuti yabhadharirwa mari here. A stray, remember, ichipinda inoona a full veterinary check, inovaccinatwa, kana ine matics inotogezwa zvakanaka yeswa mukennel. Then the decision is made thereafter. Tazogara nayo. Togara nayo makennel for some time. Tozoita a decision on way forward. Kuti imbwa yeta sei yoriwo miwe yakandeta sei. Then kana yange achitoda to sterilize kana yange toda surgery toitwa ipapo. So I think you can now weigh kwatiri kubva with the bylaws, with the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act together kuti tikwanise kureduce my numbers. At the same time, kana stray ikanongiwa whilst we are using our municipal bylaws, munhu imbwa yako ikanongiwa iri female isiri sterilized, you are given a notice that your dog needs to be sterilized. Then after that notice ukatadza kucomply, then you are not licensing your dog, then that dog gets paid. Isusu, we don't charge a ransom kuti yo mbwa yakarasika saka woita so. What we need kuti uite responsible ownership. We educate you on a proper fencing, proper like vaccinations, talk educator on sterilization and microchipping. Those are the tools that are going to lead us to a number of dogs. So breeding, chero tikada kuisplit between a good breeder and a bad breeder, kuti uyu akanaka uyu akashata, registered one registered. To me, tinongoshanda nekuti imbwa dzako hadzisi kutouya kwetiri here somehow, because if you are still receiving your dogs as strays or neglected animals, or upon confiscation, if you are not taking care of them properly, that's what I count. Zvekuti whether uri kugona sei kana kuti uri kugona sei unogona kuzoona sei, what matters is, are you doing the right thing for the animal in concern? That's where our worry is.
Now, we have to sum it up. We have a minute now left on our clock, but I would just like to hear from you guys before we conclude. Are we doing enough in order to educate the public on canine behavior? Do you think you are the behaviorist? Are we doing enough?
Yeah, all right. I, myself, what I'm doing, I've got a program for responsible pet ownership. I'm helping communities on a responsible pet ownership. So I have a page that I'm doing some seminars. Like now I'm in the process of, there's a seminar that I'm doing on understanding dog behavior, dog language, how the dogs communicate to us. So that's the thing that I'm doing. So maybe they can check on Primarius Canine Mastery Institute. That is our page on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are doing that. Then we are also doing seminars. Then is our institute, we are offering courses that we are doing. We have some courses that we are doing for owners. We are giving them advices, just for free advices. Then also there are some courses that we are doing, breeding courses, educating breeders. We are educating breeders. Then we are also educating communities and also any dog lovers on responsible pet ownership.
Mike, are you well informed? Are you well learned when it comes to breeding dogs? A minute left, like I did say, so let's try to keep it short.
Very well. But then my issue is on awareness. I think the awareness levels are very low. If we try to push the motive like what's being done on the say no to drugs issue, if we push it that way, I think a lot of people will be informed and actually understand. If before they even buy a dog, they understand the breed they're buying and what they want.
Now, I'll give ZNSPCA the last word on this. Are we doing enough in order to raise awareness on canine behavior? Just quickly.
Now, quickly, I would say let's just stick to the requirements of an animal. It's also good to then I think we'll try to achieve sterilization. As a certain SPCA, we did a free sterilization campaigns. At some point, it's educative. We visit schools and they visit us. We visit churches, sometimes they visit us. Then we will visit marginal areas. And it's educational material upon kuti vakauya vachibaisa mukadzi avo and everything, Facebook and Twitter, tinowanika Facebook and Instagram. Tine petinotoisawo ma-educative, to sum up everything, my 5 freedoms of an animal, the act itself, the inspectors, they go out and educate people who are vasina marisosisa kakwana.
Well, we have come to the end of the chase. I would like to thank my guest, Dr. Monash Nzembe, applied canine behaviorist, Kuzanai Chachkobo, Inspector, Zimbabwe National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, ZNSPCA, and Mike, as well as Mike, who is a local dog breeder and a dog lover from what we have discovered. We were supposed to be joined by the Mayor Jacob Mafume, but he could not make it, or he was not reachable. I have been your host, Faith Nyawode. Please do stay safe. We'll see you on the next one. Good evening.